Brothers and sisters, we are now in the time of the end when the books are being unsealed and mysteries are being revealed. This will be the focus of this video, where I will be uncovering the mysteries that the Father has made known unto me, such as decoding the prophecies that were sealed up in the book of Daniel, and how these prophecies have been fulfilled with precision, and the continuation of these within the book of Revelations, or aka the Apocalypse of John. Now, the Greek word apocalypsis means unveiling, and it is the act of making something known that was secret or hidden. Now, understanding that these prophecies are so profound and reveal that the Creator has encoded history before it comes to be, such as the demise of the beast kingdoms of Satan, you will begin to understand the power of the Word, which is the spirit of prophecy. Also, discover the deeper meaning behind the amazing prophecy known as the 70 weeks in Daniel, which foretold with precision the exact time and the arrival of the Messiah and the plan for redemption for mankind. You will discover the true identity of who this Antichrist power is, and understand that this same power would be behind the mark of the beast. You see, the Creator wants His people to have knowledge and understanding so that we do not become deceived by the guile of the serpent. Now, guile is cunning intelligence, because this is what it is. It is great intelligence that the serpent has. And also, you will discover who this false prophet is and his connection with the beast. Finally, you will discover that there is no 7-year tribulation period at the end of time. That's correct. There is not a 7-year tribulation period. In fact, the Word never states this, but rather this doctrine has come about by false teachers, and it is connected with the 70 weeks in Daniel, which I will show you have been fulfilled with precision. We're told that the end was to come through signs and would become manifested. Now, there are so many signs, such as deceptions we're told to look out for, wars, rumors of wars, increased earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, weather changes, confusion of nations, the rise of nations, civil unrest. We have signs in the earth, the moon, and the stars, meteoroids. There's so many signs, and the list goes on. Now, this is exactly what is occurring in intensity in our time. Now, the most amazing thing is the wisdom of Elohim, that everything is prophecy. Now consider carefully and understand the meaning behind these words. We're told in Luke chapter 18 verse 8, I tell you, he will see that they get justice and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth? So we see the end was understood even from the days of the Messiah, because we're told that the testimony of Yeshua is the spirit of prophecy. Now also in 2 Baruch chapter 25, and it will come to pass when they say in their thoughts by reason of their much tribulation, the mighty one does no longer remember the earth. Yes, it will come to pass when they abandon hope, that the time will then awake. You see, the Creator is very wise and infinite, and there's a reason why this has come about. Now, this really has to do with the parable of the wheat and the tares. Now, the wheat here is symbolizing the fruit of the vine, the Spirit, and His Word. The tares are representing the spirit of the evil one. Now, in Matthew chapter 13, verses 24, another parable He put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants, the angels of the owner, came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? He said to them, An enemy has done this. The servants, the angels, said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up the tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. That's the end of the age. And at the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, First gather together the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn, the kingdom of heaven. You see, this is speaking of a spiritual matter. The seed is the word, which is spirit, and it has to do with the inner man, the mind. The field is his world. You see, the enemy has been planting within the minds of the believers his lies and deceptions, which have swayed many of them away from the truth. What is speaking at a deeper level is that the Creator knew that everything would become corrupted and defiled due to the mind of man. But it was Elohim's wisdom to root out of his kingdom everything that corrupts and defiles. This is why we had to live by faith and trust in him, be found worthy to enter the kingdom, and be allowed to eat from the fruit of the tree of life, which is immortality. The kingdom was first established within the hearts and the minds of the people. We were to learn wisdom and to renew our minds and to walk like Yeshua did. You see, the kingdom is within you, and it is spirit, and it is to do with your mind. Now in Titus chapter 1 verse 15 we read, it says, "To the pure all things are pure, but to those who are corrupted and do not believe, nothing is pure. In fact, both their minds and consciences are corrupted." That is why we are told in Matthew chapter 24 verse 13, "But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved." Before we begin, let's preface this, and let's look at an example of the Creator foretelling the end from the beginning, from the very start. And this is the meaning that there are many things concealed and hidden within His Word, and we are told in His Word that there is His hidden wisdom, and this is just an example. And this is quite important because in a moment I will show you the fulfillment of this very prophecy. He says, "And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head," meaning the Messiah will crush your head, "and you will strike his heel." So it even foretold that this serpent would strike the heel of the Messiah. So I'm going to show you that in a moment. Now, this is really quite amazing because you see there's this intense war that has been going on across heaven and earth involving spiritual beings, fallen angels, and physical beings. And despite this conflict that has stretched across millennia, there will one day come a person from the seed of Eve that will crush the head of the serpent and put an end to the kingdom of the beast. You see, it was Satan who entered Judas to betray Yeshua, as foretold ahead of time, fulfilling the words spoken of by the Creator that he, the serpent, would strike the heel of the Messiah, but not realizing that he was fulfilling the requirements of the law, that the Passover lamb who was innocent, the one who would take away the sins of the world, Yeshua, that the Creator would give him the eternal kingdom and all power and glory. Now imagine what Satan must have thought concerning these words, a supernatural being, top in the ranks, with super high intelligence and knowledge. Could he grasp the meaning behind Elohim's prophetic words? If Satan and the fallen angels could not grasp the meaning behind these things, how then are we earthly beings to understand the things written within His word of truth? Well, we are told it is the Creator who reveals mysteries and teaches us through His Spirit, and has testified to these things by His Son, Yeshua. Before we begin, let's keep in mind how the Creator has fulfilled with precision the words spoken of in His word, the word of truth. And I'm speaking of Genesis 3:15. We just had a look at that a moment ago. Now what we have here is an overview of these prophecies in Daniel and the book of Revelations, because you see, within these two books is the end written from the beginning. And this visual representation is a side-by-side of these two prophecies and how they overlap. And we have on the left here the visions and the dreams that were recorded in Daniel. Now Daniel is the Hebrew for Elohim is my judge. And these prophecies, we're told, are a mystery. And they were sealed. Also, the dreams and the visions were sealed until the time of the end. And Daniel was shown a vision. Daniel was shown the future, what would come about. And it all centers around this image of this beast that was shown to Nebuchadnezzar. And Daniel was also given further validation of these kingdoms and how they would deteriorate over time, and the symbolic meaning behind the kingdoms. We'll look at that in a moment. And there's this amazing prophecy called the sabbatical, the 70 weeks of Daniel. And Daniel was shown with precision the arrival of the Messiah. And we'll see how that was fulfilled with perfection, and the exact date and time when the Messiah would come. So that's truly amazing. Now keep in mind also that Daniel had wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And the Creator has also revealed unto me the meaning of these prophecies. Now, before we start this, I just want to say over here, these are the visions, the revelations that were given by the Creator to Yeshua, who delivered them to Yochanan, the servant. And they are recorded here. And Yochanan means Jehovah is gracious. Okay, and we'll look at those in a moment, but we'll focus here on the dreams of Nebuchadnezzar first, and we'll just break this down, and you'll see as we go through this the amazing wisdom of Elohim. First, we'll start off with the image, the dream of Nebuchadnezzar, and this image we see is an image of a man, and we're told it is a mystery, meaning that it was hidden. It's something that had to be revealed, and it is quite symbolic, this dream, because we see that the head of gold symbolizes Babylon, this ruler, and we know that gold is symbolic and it symbolizes royalty and kingship, and this is where the ruler is, the head representing the ruler. Okay, and we know it's representing Babylon, and we're told that this body of silver, right, represents Media and Persia, this Persian kingdom, because you see over time this kingdom was going to become deteriorating, and it was going to go through different hands, different peoples. Okay, now we're told this body of brass represents Greece. Okay, so keep that in mind. And then we have these two legs of iron symbolizing Rome, and we know that Rome was a very strong, powerful kingdom, and it was symbolized as iron because iron has got strength. And then we're told that these feet would be mixed with iron and clay, representing a divided kingdom. And in the prophecy, it was quite amazing. The Creator foretold this ahead of time, and Daniel was given understanding of this, and Nebuchadnezzar understood it was about his kingdom. Okay, now the prophecy goes on to say that at the time of these kings, that the Creator would establish, Elohim would establish an eternal kingdom that will never be destroyed or left to another people, and it will crush all those kingdoms. Now remember what it said in that earlier in Genesis 3. It says he will crush your head, meaning the Messiah. This is exactly what is being fulfilled here. So it really is quite amazing. And also this mixture of iron and clay represents a divided kingdom. And it's the divided kingdom of Satan. So what we can surmise here, and what this really is symbolizing, is this head of gold is Satan and his kingdoms. And we see that through time the kingdom is deteriorating, because we know that gold is of more value than silver. Silver is of more value than brass, and brass of course has more value than iron. So it's actually really quite amazing that the Creator is foretelling this. Now we see that this rock was to hit this statue, meaning it was going to destroy this statue, this symbol of this man, this kingdom, and bring it to an end. And that is Elohim's wisdom. Now, of course, Nebuchadnezzar was very troubled by all this, so he summoned all these magicians and astrologers and sorcerers in his kingdom. So all these people with knowledge, and he threatened them if they could not make known to him this interpretation of this dream, that they would be cut in pieces. But you see, the wise men of Babylon could not interpret this dream. None of them understood exactly what this was speaking about. And we see that Daniel went to the Creator, and the Creator was the one who revealed the meaning of this unto. And Daniel was given the interpretation, so that's why this is a mystery and why it needs to be revealed. Now, later on, we see that Daniel was also given dreams, and he was given them in the form of beasts, and these beasts were corresponding to the dream that Daniel had, that Nebuchadnezzar had. So we see that the first beast that was to come was the lion. And of course, we know that lion symbolizes kingship and dominion, and it was really representing this ruler, this king. But we see it's being symbolized as a beast because a lion is a king of the jungle. He is the ruler. And we know this is symbolized in Babylon because the symbol of the lion was the national symbol of Babylon. It was a lion with eagle wings. So it's quite amazing. And then we see that there was going to be this next beast that would come, which was a bear. And the bear represents the Medes and the Persians. And then was given some deeper insight into that. He said that one side was going to come up. It was going to stand on one side, and that represented, of course, the Medes. And then we see that the Persians followed. And why was a bear chosen? Well, what you'll discover is that each of these beasts, these symbols of the beast, represented characteristics of those kingdoms. Take for example, the Medes and the Persians had an army of over 2,500,000 men. And as they moved on the ground, that would probably look from the heavens, it would look like a massive bear on the ground. So it is really quite befitting to choose that symbol for that kingdom. And also we're told that the next beast was going to be a leopard. And we see that this is synonymous with the belly of brass, right? Because it represents Greece. And we're talking about Alexander's kingdom here. And why a leopard? Because only with 35,000 troops was Alexander able to conquer and move so fast and take such, quickly take over kingdoms with a very small army. So it kind of moved like a leopard, which is very fast. So that's really quite amazing. I'm also told in that prophecy that his kingdom would be divided and given to 4. And we know that this is the 4 generals in his army. So even that level of detail was given in that prophecy. And then finally, Daniel was shown the final beast, which really represent Rome and her strength. And we see that this empire is symbolized by these 2 legs, right, of iron, meaning a divided kingdom, because we have these feet with bronze and iron and clay, and obviously iron and clay do not mix. So we're talking about a divided kingdom. And we look at Rome. Rome was the first model of democracy. They are the ones who introduced the optimates and the populares. And this is symbolizing a mixed kingdom. And that's what Daniel was also saying. It was a different kingdom to these previous kingdoms. They're more like kings and emperors. Anyway, this is quite amazing because it is really foretelling with precision the divided kingdom of Satan. So we think about this, is what's quite amazing here is that the Creator has foretold this ahead of time. Even from the very beginning, he already had a plan to deal with all this. Now, why a head and the heel? Why is the rock crushing the heel? Well, wisdom teaches us that the beginning of a man is his hand, and the end of a man is his heel. Take 2nd Ezra chapter 6 verse 9. It says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the world to follow." So that's really quite amazing that is also within that story. Now also, you notice how those characteristics of these beasts' kingdoms symbolize the attributes of the kingdom itself. And also, this is where we have the meaning behind the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, because you're going to see that in Revelations later on that this is talking about the exact same thing, and it is coming to the end now of these kingdoms, and that's why this beast enforces his mark, and he is taking his claim to his people. Now, Now, when the revelation was given by the Creator to Yeshua, who delivered it to Yochanan, Yochanan was able to see many of these prophecies already fulfilled. And he was looking back in time, and he saw these same beasts that Daniel was seeing, but he saw them in reverse order. And we see that this represents Satan's dominions over the 7 world empires. Now, down here on the left, I've listed these empires, and in Revelation 13, it describes this beast, and except in reverse order. Now, we know it said that 5 are fallen, so it's referring to Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, the lion with the eagle wings, and then we have Media, Persia, and Greece. So these are the 5 kingdoms, and they're all saints' kingdoms that will fall. And at the time John was writing this, he said 1 is, right? And Rome was ruling the world at that time. And Rome, the iron, the eagle, is symbolized by the 2 legs of iron here in Nebuchadnezzar's dream. And also by Daniel's dream here of this beast that was different to all the other beasts. Now, in a moment, a bit later, I'll show you this little horn, and this is the first beast in Daniel. Sorry, the little horn is what Daniel was shown, and is the first beast in what John was shown. So we're going to look at this, but we see we're told there are 7 heads of the beast kingdom. And we're going to see there is also an 8th as well, and he's the final beast. And what is really quite amazing is that you will see that there's a prophecy about this first beast and this second beast, and how that was fulfilled. Now, in Daniel 7:8 it says, 3 of the first horns were plucked out by the roots, and it had a mouth speaking pompous words. Revelation 13 it says 10 horns and 7 heads. So keep that in mind, because we're going to delve into that when we look at the division of Rome, where Rome was divided into 10 kingdoms, as foretold back here in Daniel. Precision. Anyway, so this 8 beast will also break down who this beast is, because we are told that this beast himself, the beast meaning Satan, is the final beast. And he himself, we're told, is the 8th. And we see there are 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. And it deceives those who dwell on the earth. And that's an important factor. He is the one who deceives those who dwell on the earth. And it is this beast that enforces the mark of the beast. I'm going to show you who that is. One other thing I just mentioned there as well. At the time of John's writing here, we're told in Revelation 17:12, it says, this verse tells us that the 10 horns are the 10 kings who have not received a kingdom. And this was the case when John wrote this, because Rome was not divided up into a kingdom, into these 10 kingdoms, until much later on. So at the time that John was shown this revelation, this had not come about. So keep that in mind, because the prophecies were about the past, the present, and the future, because John was told, see what must take place soon. So lots of these prophecies were to be fulfilled very soon. And many of them had already been fulfilled, such as what Yeshua had spoken about. And all these prophecies over here had been fulfilled. So keep that in mind. Now I will conclude with this important message. In the beginning, mankind was created in the image of Elohim and was brought into paradise. He was endowed with heavenly wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And they were commanded not to hearken or listen to the tree of knowledge between good and evil. This represents Satan. But the woman and man were deceived through the guile of the serpent. Then they were cast out of the garden, paradise, into darkness, this world. And the spirit of life was removed from them. Satan was cursed above all the animals, and herein we have the beginning of this beast kingdom. Ever since the beast Satan has ruled over mankind through his ignorance, and through his lies and deceptions has misled mankind into serving him. But the Creator has chosen a people and gave them his commandments, and he has tried to teach them his ways. But man has always been rebellious, stiff-necked, and has not kept his decrees and commandments. He sent his prophets and raised up kings to serve him and to teach humanity his power and dominion. But his people have rejected his ways and not learned his wisdom. But the Creator had a bigger plan from the beginning, that he said that one day a seed from the line of the woman would crush the head of the serpent and bring an end to the mind of the beast. You see, Yeshua is this person. He is the chosen one, and he symbolizes the new Adam, who is the heavenly mind of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and he was hidden from the beginning. This is how Elohim is speaking to his creation these days through his Son, who is the perfect representation of his being. And those who put their trust in him will receive the promises within his word, the eternal life. Now see, at the end of this beast kingdom, as I showed you, we see that mankind has far been removed from the image of Elohim and now become like the mind of the beast. And a beast is an animal that is without reason, knowledge, and understanding, which is contrary to everything about Elohim's kingdom. Now, this is why once your mind is given to the beast, there is no salvation, only eternal damnation. Now the beast knows that his time is short, and he is taking his claim to his kingdom, which is his people, and why he is enforcing his mark and seal of ownership on them. You see, it's always been about the body, the temple, the mind. You see, we're told that as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be in the days of the Son of Man. Now Elohim looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way upon the earth. Genesis chapter 6 verse 12. This is why this mRNA, nanobot, RFID, and artificial intelligence will bring about the events that foreshadow the days of Noah. Therefore, history repeats itself. The earth was corrupted, meaning the mind of man, and his temple, the body, the flesh.